Let's go Browns! The NFL trade deadline is fast approaching, and behind the scenes, moves are being discussed that could completely reshape a team's identity. With negotiations intensifying, certain positions are under scrutiny, and some surprising changes may be on the horizon. Some key players may be on their way out, even those many fans would consider untouchable. There's buzz, frustration, and front offices quietly dialing in, pondering bold decisions that could make or break a playoff run. What's happening now could set the tone for the rest of the season, and possibly for years to come. Be sure to hit the like button and, if possible, comment, "Go Browns!" The NFL trade deadline is fast approaching, and the Cleveland Browns are already in full throttle. With Andrew Berry pulling strings left and right, Cleveland has already executed 3 trades, and there's every reason to believe they're not done. Insider reports from Diana Ruzzini of The Athletic and Ian Rappaport suggest the Browns could be in the middle of another significant roster shakeup, and what's coming next could be the difference between making a playoff push or watching from the couch this postseason. Let's start with the Tennessee Titans, who've essentially put a big for sale sign on their roster, excluding only quarterback Cam Ward and defensive tackle Jeffrey Simmons. Every other name on the table, and that's music to Cleveland's ears, especially considering the Titans' willingness to deal corners. They've already moved Jarvis Brownlee Jr. to the Jets for a near-meaningless late-round pick swap. And now, Roger McCreary is a name buzzing in trade talks. McCreary isn't just another body at corner. At 5 feet 11 inches, 190 pounds, the Auburn product brings physicality and relentless hustle. He fits like a glove in Jim Schwartz's man-heavy defensive scheme, though Schwartz dialed up more zone last week than usual. Still, McCreary is the kind of corner who lives around the football. His 12 tackles for loss last season tied for most among defensive backs. That's not just production, that's impact. It's Tyson Campbell-level intensity, and Browns fans have already seen how effective Campbell has been since arriving in Cleveland. Think about it, McCreary has 30 tackles already this year. He's physical. He plays with urgency. And he fills the nickel role, something Cleveland has been rotating with inconsistent options like Miles Harden and Cameron Mitchell. If Tennessee is trading comparable players for late-round picks, why not offer a 6th for McCreary and a 7th? It's a low-cost, high-upside move that strengthens a position of need heading into the stretch run. Browns fans, would you do that deal? While the secondary is under evaluation, the conversation inevitably swings to the offense, particularly wide receiver. Cleveland has made it clear they need help. And while fans were buzzing about a potential blockbuster move for Dolphins star Jalen Waddle, Rappaport shut that door, reporting Miami isn't even entertaining offers. That brings us to another big-time name, A.J. Brown of the Eagles. Diana Ruzzini says teams have been calling about A.J. Brown, but Philly is telling everyone, we're not moving him. That sounds definitive until you consider what's happening behind the scenes. The Eagles are actively looking for edge rushers and corners. They have needs. And if you've been watching this team, you've seen A.J. Brown's frustration boil over. Just hours before the latest rumors, Brown posted cryptically to Instagram, "Using me, but not using me." Classic wide receiver behavior, and a potential indicator that a split isn't as impossible as the Eagles claim. Here's where things get wild. Months ago, this very idea was floated on the Browns report, a potential Denzel Ward for A.J. Brown trade. At the time, it sounded far-fetched. But in a league where value is everything, that type of player-for-player blockbuster could actually balance. Ward is a top-3 corner in the NFL and exactly what the Eagles need. Philadelphia's defense would go from solid to elite with Ward. They're defending champs. They want to repeat. And their secondary is the one thing holding them back. Would it be a massive price to pay? Absolutely. Would Cleveland fans revolt over losing Denzel Ward? Maybe. But with the Browns' offense lacking a dynamic outside weapon, this trade could flip the trajectory of the season. Cleveland has the draft capital. They have the cap space, over $23 million after restructuring deals like Denzel Ward's own. If there was ever a time to make a bold move, it's now. But would you do it, Browns fans? Would you send Denzel Ward to Philadelphia to bring in a star like A.J. Brown? Let me know in the comments, yes or no. And while you're thinking about that blockbuster trade, let's not overlook the more practical, and perhaps more realistic, option on the table, Jakobi Meyers. The Las Vegas Raiders are clearly in flux. Diana Ruzzini reports they're not just listening to calls, they're making them, especially regarding wide receiver Jakobi Meyers and certain defensive linemen. Ian Rappaport added fuel to the fire by confirming that multiple teams, including some in win-now mode, have their eyes on Myers. And get this, he wanted out back in August. His trade request didn't go through then, but that doesn't mean the window is closed. Myers is in the final year of his contract, which means he could be a rental for a playoff hopeful team. That makes Cleveland a perfect fit. The Browns are still very much in the mix in the AFC North. The Steelers just lost again. The Ravens aren't running away with it. And if the Browns can knock off the Patriots this weekend, they're right back in the conversation. Suddenly, adding a veteran like Myers makes a ton of sense. He's reliable, polished, and exactly the kind of receiver who can help stabilize a quarterback situation that's still trying to find its rhythm. Plus, Cleveland has the money. Over $23 million in cap space. Andrew Berry did that. The Browns can not only afford to trade for Myers, they can afford to keep him, should he prove a fit. So how about this deal? Cleveland sends a 4th-round pick to Las Vegas, and in return, they bring in Jakobi Meyers, an experienced, productive wideout who actually wants to be somewhere he can contribute. Vegas is a disaster right now. They're not doing anything with him. This could be a win-win. But if Myers doesn't happen, another name that keeps popping up is Chris Olave. Saints fans probably won't like it, but Olave's name has been attached to trade rumors, even though New Orleans is reportedly trying to lock him into a long-term extension. And why wouldn't they? He's young, explosive, and incredibly talented. But here's the twist, he played his college ball at Ohio State. You know what that means. The Buckeye-to-Brown pipeline has been strong lately, and Cleveland has had great luck with players coming out of Columbus. Still, Olave might be too expensive. The Saints want to keep him, and unless something drastic changes, Cleveland would likely have to give up too much to get him. That doesn't mean the idea is dead, but it's definitely sitting on the back burner compared to Myers, who is actively trying to leave, and Brown, who's clearly unhappy despite Philly's no-trade stance. Shifting focus to the backfield, Jerome Ford's name has started circulating in potential trades. Diana Rossini says the Chargers are looking for running back help, and we all know that LA's backfield has been a carousel. Cleveland could deal Ford to the Chargers for a 6th or 7th round pick. It's a modest return, sure, but with the Browns' running back depth, it's a move that makes sense. Especially with the Chiefs reportedly not interested in acquiring a running back. LA is the one team to watch here. And speaking of potential trading partners, let's not forget about the Jacksonville Jaguars. According to Rossini, the Jags are hunting for defensive help and are expected to be active before the deadline. That's perfect for Cleveland because the Browns and Jaguars have some recent trade history, and it's all tilted in Cleveland's favor. Just look at the Tyson Campbell-Greg Newsome swap. Tyson Campbell has been phenomenal since joining Cleveland. Against Miami, he didn't allow a single reception on 30 coverage snaps. That's lockdown corner behavior. And let's go back further. Cleveland had the number 2 overall pick in the draft and decided not to take Travis Hunter, who many expected to be the pick. Instead, they dealt that pick to Jacksonville and in return brought in a haul that included Mason Graham, Dylan Sampson, and Quentin Judkins. Judkins alone has been a breakout star on offense. And with Jacksonville getting limited production from their end of the deal, it's safe to say Cleveland fleeced them. Twice. So why not do it again? The Browns have the draft capital, the roster depth, and now, the cap flexibility to make these kinds of trades. Whether it's a major splash like Denzel Ward for A.J. Brown, a calculated upgrade like Roger McCreary or Jakobi Meyers, or a simple depth flip involving Jerome Ford, Cleveland is positioned to be a major player as we head into the November 4th deadline. And what's really exciting is the fact that Andrew Berry's already proven he's not afraid to shake things up. From the Flacco trade to the cornerback swaps, he's working every angle. This is a front office that's clearly all in on competing this season. The window is open. And with 2 games separating Cleveland from first place in the AFC North, every move counts. So Browns fans, the real question now is this: which move would you make? Would you go bold and swing for the fences with a blockbuster for A.J. Brown? Would you shore up depth with a savvy deal for McCreary? Or is Jakobi Meyers the perfect balance of talent, cost, and need? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe and like this video. All the latest Browns news, trade updates, and behind-the-scenes updates, you'll find them here. Stay tuned, because the best is yet to come. Go Browns!